Well, hi everybody. So I am coming to you from my very shiny dining room table yet again. And I have a couple of dolls that I would like to talk about today. On our right, we can see that I have the Wedding Day Barbie. That's from the 1990 Wedding Day gift set that where Midge and Alan got married. All I have are the Barbie and Ken from that set. If you look, and I'll just grab Ken here really quickly so you can see on the back of his box. There's Ken and all of his morning suit glory. So there's the whole wedding party. And so we have Barbie in pink and then Ken over here in the black with striped pants morning suit. Then Alan's in a white and pink morning suit. And Midge's dress is the same as Barbie's. It's just white. The lace is a little different, but it's essentially the same style. And then we have Todd and Kelly as the flower girl and the ring bearer. I don't know why Barbie's listed as the bridesmaid and not the maid of honor. That was always very weird to me. So anyway, so that's the whole set of dolls. You could get them in a whole set back in the day, or you could buy them individually. This is another one of the dolls that I regret not getting. In 1990, I was 19 and didn't have a whole lot of money. Was I working? I think that's when I was sick. So I wasn't working and I didn't have a whole lot of money. And so I had to be very picky and choosy about the dolls I bought. So I have a lot of dolls from the 90s, but this set, unfortunately, I was unable to get. And that's always kind of made me sad. So I found these two at a local auction, and I picked them up for a really, really good price. So I'm going to say, set Ken aside. Say, bye, Ken. This is not your Barbie dream house. Okay, so I'm going to say goodbye to Ken, and we're going to look at Barbie. I've been back and forth on whether I was going to debox her or not, and I think today is going to be the day. Because on our left here, I have one of these Defa Lucy dolls that everybody has been going crazy about online. And if you are in any of the doll circles, people have been buying these like crazy and showing them off, and it's intense. And I'm going to do an unboxing, and I want to do a comparison because vintage dolls are my thing. I can also get a more modern doll to kind of compare her to, but really the vintage dolls are kind of my thing. Maybe I'll grab one of the Margot Robbies from the Barbie movie to compare Defa Lucy to, because maybe that's more of a fair comparison. But I want to, if I can, de-influence you a little bit. So this is going to be a de-influencer, hopefully, unboxing. We'll see. Maybe I'll change my mind, but I really want to. I bought one. I caved. But I really wanted to make this video, and I really wanted to talk about this because this is something that's very important to me. So I'll just say that. And then I bought a couple of fashions from the Temu website. Again, I bought these for illustrative purposes, but I also want to talk about this. So yeah, so we'll take a look at these as well, and maybe even try them on a doll. I haven't decided who's going to be my fashion model yet, but we'll take a look at these. And when I say I want to de-influence, what I mean is I want to talk about where these dolls are coming from and the impact on our world. If you've been standing for this new wave of Defa Lucy dolls, this might not be the video for you. You might want to look at one of my other videos, and that's okay. I understand that. Like, if you love these dolls and you've been collecting them because you think they're amazing, you know what? I'm not here to yuck your yum. But I am here to talk to people that are thinking about maybe buying some of these dolls and maybe gently push you in a different direction. Or, first of all, I'll let you know honestly what I think about this. Like, if I love this doll and I'm like, I gotta have more, I'll be honest with you and I'll tell you that. And I've not opened, I took her out of the big bag that she was shipped in, but I've not taken her out of this box, so I've not even seen her yet. Honestly, can't even remember which one I purchased. And I'm going to link an article down in the description box to a BBC article from 2023. And in this article, it talks about some of the abuses of child labor and slave labor in other countries. And China is one of those countries that's very, very guilty of this. So if you've noticed, like, finding these dolls in stores is very difficult. And if you can find them, you're going to find them at like a Five Below maybe, or something like that. But generally you have to buy these online at places like Temu or Shein or something like that. And I just want you to be cautious when buying from these places. I mean, sure, like, they steal our identity and they use it for other purposes. A lot of businesses do that, right? Like, that's a whole different conversation. And that's not really what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about here is conspicuous consumerism and our place in it, and us doing the best job we can to make the best choices we can. Again, this isn't to point fingers, this isn't to make anybody feel bad about it, but I feel like nobody's talking about this, and nobody's talking about the impact that these purchases and people buying these dolls up in the great numbers that they are could be having on our world. So I just felt compelled to talk about this. So Barbie, of course, has been made in foreign countries for ages, right? Like, they've been made in the Philippines, in Taiwan, in Mexico. They've been made all over the place. China, all over the place. It's stamped on the back of their heads. It's stamped on their butts, right? Like, you can find it stamped on their bodies somewhere where they're manufactured, and on their boxes and all that. Oh, here we go. She was made in Malaysia, and the bouquet was made in Hong Kong. And these were manufactured directly for Mattel. This information's on here clearly for us to see where these were manufactured. And that's because of Section 307 of the Tariff Act of 1930. This section prohibits importing any product that was mined, and I'm reading this right off of the Google search that I did to find this information. So you can search this. I'll try to remember to put a link down below. But just Google search Section 307 of the Tariff Act of 1930. And this, again, prohibits importing any product that was mined, produced, or manufactured wholly or in part by forced labor. So these companies, these big companies like Mattel, are watched very, very closely to make sure that they are not guilty of human rights abuses. And sometimes it comes to light, and then, they're fined and blah, 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 and companies get into big trouble over this, right? Like, it's taken pretty seriously, right? Like, human rights abuses are wrong, right? And we need to watch out for that. Well, when you're buying directly from something like AliExpress or Temu or Shein, you don't know where this is coming from. You're buying this from a third-party seller, not an American company. And so they're not subject to those laws. And so these can be manufactured anywhere. Like, if I paid $2, I can't remember what I paid for this, but it wasn't much. And I got it specifically to point out to you, like, if I paid, like, let's say $5 for this, how much of that $5 got in the hands of that worker, right? And there's a lot of hands that this had to go to get from that worker to me. Like, how much money did that person make? Did they make any money? Are they being forced to make this stuff? You know what I mean? And so, like, when you think about it in that way, then suddenly this fashion doesn't look all that appealing. So that's what I'm trying to get at with this, right? Is like, sure, like, can you get stuff for cheap online? Yeah, absolutely. From these Chinese companies, of course you can. But at what cost? At what human cost? And are you willing to pay that price? So, because the price comes from somewhere, right? It's either going to come in money that we spend, and this is not a need, right? I'm not talking about people buying clothes, like, because I'm a plus size gal, and sometimes you got to buy clothes where you can find clothes that'll fit you. I get that, right? Like, sometimes you got to do what you got to do to, to clothe your kids. These are dolls. These are dolls being purchased by adult collectors. We don't need these. You know what I mean? So just think about that when you're buying the stuff and when you're looking at these. All right. So I warned you, this was not going to be a fun unboxing. It's going to be a serious unboxing. Now, I am going to look at her and I am going to evaluate her based on her own qualities as well. But in the back of my mind is always going to be that discussion of, is this worth it? Right? Is it worth it to know that maybe somebody somewhere was exploited to make this doll so that I could have it in my collection? Right? And is it worth it? Like, what is the true cost of this piece of plastic and cardboard that's in my hands right now? All right. So again, I warned you, it was going to be a little bit of a bummer, but I just can't not think about that stuff. That's just me. If it doesn't bother you, and this is, then live your life, right? Like, I'm not trying to judge anybody. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to live their life. I'm just trying to have this moment of where we look at this honestly, and then we make choices as adults, right? As to what is right for us in the situation. And only you can decide that for yourself. I can't make that decision for you, okay? So I'm not trying to guilt you. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm just trying to say this is a conversation that we really should be having as collectors. Because again, this is conspicuous consumerism, right? This is us buying things just to buy them and just to have them in our collections. As YouTubers and as people who are putting information out on the internet, like, I don't know how far this video will go. I would feel bad influencing somebody to go buy something that maybe was responsible for some human rights abuses, somebody I've never met on the internet. Like, I can't not have this conversation and think about that and have that in the back of my mind as I'm unboxing this. So all of that out of the way. I know that was a really long introduction and I apologize, but that just sets the stage for the context in which this unboxing is going to happen. Okay. So now let's unbox. Let's get to it. Let's see what we got here. So I'm probably going to switch cameras. So if the quality changes a little bit, I'm going to try shooting on my webcam. I can't find this is my phone that we're shooting on, and I can't find my clampy thing that I use to set this up. So we're going to try my webcam and we'll see if that works. I may go hunt down my clampy thing for this. We'll see. We'll see. So hold on. Okay, so I've got some of my girls here assembled for us to talk about. And yes, they're using Ken's Wedding Day Barbie box as a platform. We'll just, he'll deal with it. He'll be fine. I'm sure he's not cooking up anything terrible as he's face down on my table. So what I've got here is I've got 3 different dolls from 3 very different eras. These 2 are very related to each other. And this girl really is kind of her own thing. She's a very, very different doll. She is going to be a more realistic comparison, I think, to this doll than these 2 are. But I just want to kind of talk about them really quickly. So on the left here, this is a promotional superstar Barbie. So she's from the late 70s. And then on the right, that is Barbie from Barbie and from Barbie and the Beat. If that's wrong, I'll correct it. I'll insert something here if I'm wrong about that. But I think that's from Barbie and the Beat. There are a whole bunch of, like, everybody remembers Barbie and the Rockers, but there were like all these other Barbie musical bands that came out at exactly the same time. Barbie and the Rockers just got famous because of the whole scandal with Gem and the Holograms. But we'll talk about that at another date. Both of these dolls were thrifted by me over the years. And you can see that they are very similar. They have that unrealistic body proportion. If I hold her sideways, you can see her silhouette. They both have that weird bent arm look that some people I know cannot stand. I'm looking at you, Jim. They both have the superstar Barbie face sculpt. They're slightly different because I think they were manufactured in different plants. So there are some slight variations within that superstar Barbie face sculpt, but it's essentially the same. They kind of open mouth smile, right? The very pretty, wide, at the temples, coming down to that very narrow chin, with a kind of rounded jaw. Really beautiful proportions, I think. Superstar face sculpt is always going to be my favorite, partially because that's the doll I grew up with. And she's just beautiful. Elegant, meant to be, she's meant to be very glamorous, right? You can see that really with this glitzy, glamorous dress. She is missing her headpiece. She would have had a sequin, kind of like almost a turban and a feathered boa. She's missing those things. But other than that, she's in really good shape. And of course, both of them, rock stars, that kind of thing, or musicians, or, performers of some sort. So I thought they were kind of similar. Both of them have that snap knee device, right? So their knees are that rubbery material and they snap and hold a position. Usually 3 clicks is about what you can get out of them. Every once in a while, you'll have a doll that can hold a 4th click, but I can already kind of feel that not really wanting to stick. So she's not quite, she's got a pretty close 90-degree angle. The older dolls tend sometimes to be a little bit better as they got along. So some of the other dolls were not quite so good. But she's got really good, strong bend and click knees. Everybody was a little different. Sometimes that mechanism would start to discolor the skin. So some of the older dolls, you'll see like greening happening on their knees or in their legs. There's not a whole lot you can do about that. That's just that mechanism aging poorly within the plastic. So she's got, what is it? What does she got? Let's see, 1 point of articulation in the head, in the shoulders, at the hips, but the hips can only go, she's in this little pencil skirt, so she's not going to move much. They can only swing forward and backwards. They can't swing out. And then at the knees. So what's that? 7 points of articulation. And that's what they got. And they have that permanent high-heeled foot look. And so both of these dolls are in that same kind of pose. And then fast forward right into the early 2000s, late 90s, they started to experiment with different body styles. A lot of parents got really upset about this unrealistic body proportion of Barbie that had been around since the beginning. So the beauty behind these older dolls is that, this girl, even though she's from 1979, she can wear a dress that was made in 1969 or 1959, right? Like she can wear any of the fashions that had been made for Barbie up to this point because they all had the same body style. They all had the same body proportions. So that's an upside to this. The downside is, right, it's an unrealistic body, right, and representation matters. So a lot of people had a problem with that. And it's a fair argument to make. So wherever you stand on that argument, you're correct, right? Like you can argue it either way, right? In my opinion. So this is Margot Robbie, right? She was made just this last year, so she's from 2023. And so she represents more the contemporary doll style. Now, she has a very different face sculpt, so we won't talk about that because this is individual to this movie, right? This is meant to look like this actress. But as far as the body goes, she has more articulation. So she has her shoulders, right, can come out as well as straight forward. Which this Barbie has that. Her arms can come out, but she's also got her elbows can bend. She's very stiff. She's very newly out of the package, so she's a little stiff. So she's got her arms can bend. Her wrists can turn and bend, right? Her hips can move, but they can also just a little bit come out. But in general, they can really only kind of come forward and backwards. She can't really do the splits that way. Her knees can bend, so she's got a hinge in there instead of a bend and snap knee. I kind of picked this doll because this outfit's easy to manipulate to see her body. So, right, she's got a hinge. She's also got a ball joint in there, so she can also turn her knee, right, to cross her legs or whatever. And her foot is stuck in the permanent high heel position. She does not have articulation at the ankle. So this is different from a made to move body. And I think this is a more accurate comparison to this doll, which is why I picked this, these regular articulation on these dolls. One thing I think that's weird about these dolls is they don't turn at the waist. There's no waist turning, and there's like some of the modern, like the made to move dolls have a little bit of chest articulation, but it's not much. These dolls, these older dolls, these are on And she doesn't sit very well either. Like she can't do a 90-degree at the hip very well. Look at how she's kind of leaned back. So she doesn't sit down very comfortably. So they got this twist waist. So now that we've kind of had this trip down memory lane and we have our base 0 point, this is what we're starting with. This has become the industry standard, right? Like when you think Barbie, this is what you think, or at least this is what I think, right? Is I think somewhere in this genre of dolls. So this is the standard to beat. These dolls, as far as quality goes, they feel nice and heavy and solid, like very high quality. Their joints feel very strong. This doll, I have a feeling, was only on display because her joints are very tight. And her hair is very shiny and new, like it was never really washed or messed with or anything. So I think, like, I did very, very little to her to put her on display. She was kind of like this when I bought her at the thrift store. So, just really, really beautiful and nicely kept and nicely taken care of. Whereas this doll was, I had to get some color off her face because she'd been painted weird Barbie style a little bit. And I had to kind of fix her up a little bit to get her back in displayable condition. But still, despite that hard play, like she cleaned up beautifully. She's in really good shape. She, just has that quality about her. These dolls, these more modern dolls, these are starting to feel a little cheaper to me. So the legs, like these rubberized legs, right, have a real solid, heavy feel, where these are hard plastic. And they have that plasticky, let me do that into the microphone. They have that hard plasticky kind of feel to it. The hand sculpt, like look at that hand sculpt. That's just beautiful, right? It's really nice. And she's got this delicate kind of pose. So I don't know, but I mean, look at how chunky her fingers are and look at how delicate Superstar Barbie's fingers are. So I'll take some side-by-side photos of just some details like that so that you can compare and you can kind of make up your own mind. So these dolls, I think, have lost some quality over the years, and that's kind of a big complaint. And the fashions have really lost the quality over the years. This outfit, this little jumpsuit she's making, is beautifully made because this was made for this movie. So the movie dolls, like they have gorgeous clothing and gorgeous accessories. But a lot of the modern dolls just do not. That was a long preamble. Now, let's get to the main event. So I'm going to move these girls to the side. So I got our girls moved off to the side here. And we are going to open this up and see what we think. So some of what people have been saying about these dolls is just the quality is just there. And it's more reminiscent of older Mattel dolls. And I think people are hungry for that, right? People are hungry for these vintage dolls, that quality, but they want this posability of these more modern dolls. And a lot of people, I think that's what they're responding to. So let's give her an open. So this box just came in a mailer bag. So I'm actually kind of surprised that it's in as good a shape as it is. It's not that banged up. So I will give you first glance here. So this is our girl. All right, let's pull her out of her shipper and set her down in front. So Defa is the company. It's a Chinese company that makes this doll. And Lucy is the name of the doll. So kind of like, we have Barbie, right? This is Lucy. This face sculpt, I think, is really beautiful. She's got kind of just beautiful detail in her face. I'm just not getting this in focus. So let's, this outfit is weird though. Is it just me? Everybody oohs and ahs over this outfit. Who wears this? Who dresses like this? Now I get that there are several different lines, and this is meant to kind of compete with the extra line, the Mattel extra line, which was always, the fashions there were always a little extreme. But I thought those were weird too. So let's debox her. So there's not a lot of packaging, which is nice. Excessive packaging is just annoying. So let's see what we got to do to bust her out of here. That was way more drama than it had to be. Okay, I guess I didn't even look at the artwork. Like, a lot of people have been reviewing these, and this doll is not new. Like, this one's an older style. But this artwork is really cool. I might try to save that and put it in one of my books. Like, recycle some of this paperboard. It's really cute. Okay, I've seen lots of people debox these, and that was way more dramatic than everybody else made it look. I don't know why it was so dramatic for me. I do like that she's not... Mattel, you do not need to package these dolls and bondage them into their boxes as much as you do. Like, what is your fetish with that? It is weird, and it takes too long to get the dolls out of the package. This is like so much simpler already. So much simpler. So that I get. Oh my gosh. This is my pet peeve. Why? Why do we have these? Why are the heads attached like this? Look at this. That is insanity. That we don't have to live our lives like this. These girls did not have their heads tiger-tailed, right, to the frickin' packaging. It's not necessary. All right, we're going to leave those in right now, though, to keep her head on. So, first impressions, of course, is the euphoria of opening a new doll. Is there anything in the world like that? Right? It evokes all of that wonder and all of that fun and all of the amazement and possibilities that I used to have when I was a kid growing up. Like, that nostalgia just never dies and it never gets old. And she is very beautiful. I mean, that face, come on. Whoever sculpted her, like 10 out of 10. Good job, you guys. So, and there's like 2 or 3 different faces. This is the one that I really liked. So when I decided I was going to get one, I was like, this is the girl I'm going to get. I also like this hair color. It's kind of a burgundy color. It's very weird though. Like all different lengths. A little dry, but very soft. I'm not good at hair types, so don't ask me what type of hair it is because I don't know. Look at that. It's one little long piece for no reason. We're just going to say goodbye to that. Cute. Cute little bangs. Not perfect, so we're going to trim those up for her. Give her a nice straight bang. Yeah, so let's take a look at the doll, shall we? So again, her fashion is a little weird, in my opinion. I don't understand this tulle half skirt. Like, it doesn't even come together in the back. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? It's like a reverse mullet skirt. Like, I don't even understand it. And the fabric's a little shredded. That's just the quality of the materials that they're working with. But you can't get rid of it. Like, I would have to seam rip that off, which I may do. I may cut that off. Like, that might go. Because the belt is cute and the belt detail is cute. And I don't mind. So the shorts are Velcroed in the back. You know my feelings on this. If you know me, Velcro on doll clothes is the beginning of the end of Western civilization, in my opinion. So I don't hate it any more than I hate any other doll's clothes that are Velcroed. It's 2 separate pieces, which is nice. This shirt is separate from this weird skirt short thing. She has this over-the-shoulder bag, which is plastic. That's pretty typical. Barbies are now all plastic, which kind of sucks, but what are you going to do? She has a plastic baseball cap on her head, which goes with this sort of sporty look. I don't mind this undershirt under the t-shirt. That's kind of cute. Are they all one? Let's find out. I think they are. I think it's all one shirt. So, yep, they're sewn together. And actually, so that sheer undershirt is sewn to the over t-shirt, which is fine. Again, just this tulle thing is so weird. Her legs. So let's take a look at her. The doll herself, people ooh and ah over these. I'm holding on to her legs. These are shit. Like, these legs are awful. I don't want to touch them any more than I absolutely have to. Like, they're cheap. They're sort of plasticky, sort of rubbery. Like, look at this. Some of them I know have been deformed. Like, if they're in the package weird, like their legs will be deformed. They're really kind of crap. They're made, like, I think this is giving me cancer just sitting here holding it. The arms aren't as bad. They're kind of weird too. And like the hand is not. So let's look at side by side. Like her You've heard of cankles? She's got that in like her wrist here. I don't know. It's not, I think the face sculpt is the best part of this doll, honestly. So let's hold her up next to Margot Robbie. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think Margot Robbie wins this one. Like, look at that beautiful hand sculpt. Is this not fair? Should I go get my, maybe Margot Robbie's not fair. Hold on. So just in the interest of fairness, this is my one extra doll. And she's cute, right? She's the Fire Festival doll, right? Like, they don't call her that, but come on. I mean, look at that outfit. My girl was on something when she picked this out. I thought it was cute. I loved all the fringe and stuff. And so this is more akin to the line of dolls that this is trying to mimic. And my girl here, like, she's cute and all, but she has that same arm, like, again, that arm sculpt. Oops, that arm sculpt, not even close. Like, not. Again, I'll throw up pictures, or I'll try to remember to take pictures of side by side. It's a close comparison, but it's a Barbie clone, right? And it has Barbie clone issues. It has the Barbie clone problems that Barbie clones have. Just the sculpt isn't as elegant. It's a little clunky in the way it's done. The materials don't feel as nice. You know, this leg, while it's got that plasticky feel to it, it feels solid. Now, mind you, this doll, they're not making these. They're not doing the extra and the extra fly and all of that anymore. So apparently they've killed this line, which is the dumbest thing I think Mattel has done in a minute. Like, dumb. Because these dolls are super popular amongst collectors. And I guess kids, I don't know. But they're really cute. They're beautifully made. They have great accessories, beautiful details. Why would you get rid of them? Why? Why would you do that? So speaking of details, right? Like, she's got cute details on her clothes. She's got little, like, bedazzling on her shirt, which is really pretty. The details on her belt are really nicely stitched. So there's some nice stuff going on here. It's fine. Again, her hair, it's soft, but it feels like it's going to break in a couple of years. And the ends are really dry and brittle. And just like, I don't know, her body is just like, it's okay. It's not great. It's not great. It's, you know, if you watch people on YouTube here, they talk about these dolls like they're the second coming. And they're all right. At least based on this one. Like, but it just, I don't know. She can get a full 90 degree, which is good. Now holds a pose pretty well. I've heard a lot of them have swingy hips. This one seems to have nice tight hips. So she's okay in that instance. She has flat feet, not in the high heel shoe category, which, I mean, I don't have strong feelings about that one way or another, to be honest. She also has flat feet, so, you know, that's fair. Those funky boots. But I mean, like, I don't know. The shoes here, those are nice. Like, the details, can I get that in focus ever? No, I'm gonna have to put up pictures. Like, the detail on these shoes are pretty good, actually. And maybe even a little nicer than these Barbie boots. Like, Barbie shoes and accessories have just stunk recently, in my opinion. So I think that's where she's the winner, is like in what she's wearing. The doll herself is meh. Like, the legs feel weird. They don't feel very solid. They're kind of rubbery, and they have the same articulation that my Margot Robbie has, that this girl has. But it's not, I don't know. She's all right, is all. She's all right. She's a clone. But I'm not in love. You know who I'm in love with? I'm in love with these girls. I like her. We're talking. She's good. I don't know. She's all right. She's cute. So now we're going to look at these fashions. Do I think she is worth buying? Like, will I buy more of these? I don't know. I haven't made my mind up. I got to think about that. But that's a decision you have to make, right? Like, is it worth buying from a company that has questionable labor practices? Like, until we hear what this factory is like, where these come from, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I have a lot of feelings about it. And even if this is fine, even if this doll's made fine, still these companies are okay with things coming from factories that where there clearly are human rights violations. Oops. And like, do I want to perpetuate that system? Where do I want my money to go? Right? Let's see, does she sit very well? Not any better than Margot does. She got the same kind of problem where she'll have to sit back too far. Okay, let's look at these fashions. I can't even remember what I bought. It's been a couple of weeks. It's popping open here, so let's just do that. So I'll try to put a picture up of what I purchased. So let's see what we got here. We got this little furry coat. It's like not made well. It's not made well at all. It is just, the fabric is okay. No, it's not. Like you can see through. Okay, so it's got this fur with this pattern in it, and it's shorn here to give you these like layers instead of it being stitched to give you that puffy look. And that's what they should have done. They should have stitched it. But instead of doing that, what they did was they trimmed the fabric down to nothing, and so you can see through it. I don't know if I can get it to show up on camera, but you can, in person, like you can see those lines. You can see through it. And it feels like this fabric is like this nylon-y, really cheap backing fabric. It's just cheap. It's cheaply made. It's not at all lined, so you're going to have like fluff come out forever, right? It's just so these are just very messy seams. How is it cut? Is it cut cleanly at least? Pattern piece looks cut cleanly. I don't see any like ragged. So what you want to look for is like ragged edges where it's like not cut in a smooth arc. This was cut in a nice smooth arc. Huge stitches. Holy cow. Look at those huge stitches. Practically just basted together. So that'll come apart. Like threads hanging out. It's not sewn well. It's not made well. It's cheap fabric and it's cheaply made. It's garbage. It'll look cute on the doll, but like no care was taken. Like look at this awkwardness. So, and this is the problem with not doing this as seams. So we have like this shorn area here. Again, meant to look like a seam, but then there's a seam here, giving you this really awkward transition from the body of the jacket to the sleeve. Look at that weirdness. It's just weird. It's weird. It's cheap. It's not made well. All right, this dress. We have elastic for and so this is just raw elastic. It's not covered in any fabric. The ends aren't finished well. So it's just raw elastic that's fraying. Eventually that will fray down to the stitching and it will give way. And it's just raw, cheap elastic. What is that? 1/4 inch elastic. And then this is a cheap tube it's literally just a tube of knit fabric. That's your dress. It's just a tube of knit fabric with elastic straps. This is why it's $2, friends. This is why it's $2. It's made out of the cheapest stuff possible. And it's like literally one seam. And look at that. Look at how nicely done that seam is. All right, let's turn it inside out so we can see what's happening. How is that going to fit around the doll? Look at how narrow that is. Where's that meant to go? How do you get that on her? At her knees? Good Lord, talk about a hobble skirt. Like it's stretchy, but it's not that stretchy around the knees. Because they did a straight stitch. I don't know if you can see that around the hem. So it is hemmed, but they did a straight stitch around the hem, which isn't stretchy at all. So as soon as you put that on your doll, you're going to pop one of those stitches and then that's going to come undone. And it's just a single line of stitching. And then, so they've cut this into they tried to give it some shape. Can you see that? I'll set this down on the table. So see that curve? So that's meant to kind of contort to the body, but it's all in the back. There's no shaping in the front. So it's just the stretch of the fabric that's supposed to give you shaping in the front. And in the back, that's supposed to go over, like there's the doll's waist, over the doll's booty, and then to the knees. That is so cheap. And so it gives you this weird, because when you open it back up, it gives you that weird puckering in the back. We're definitely trying this on a doll. I don't know who's going to be my victim yet. Then you get this weird, and then the ribs are all, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll look all right on a doll, but I mean, that looks like you could turn it around and put it on pregnant Midge. You know what I mean? Like, what Kim Kardashian doll are you supposed to put that on? Here's the belt. It's not even a full belt. It's just a molded plastic. It's garbage. That's the necklace, and it's just on a stretchy elastic. Just some beads on a stretchy elastic. garbage. The shoes are kind of cute. The sculpt looks decent. They're squishy. Split down the back so you can get them on easily. I actually hate that. I really hate that. I would rather... Look, this is how we got motor skills as children. Right? Look at those tiny little buckles on the front of those shoes. Were they a pain in the ass to put on? Yes, they were. Look at how great those shoes look, though. Worth it? 100%. 100% worth it. These shoes being split up the back, what are you doing to me here? Like, come on. But that's the problem with having a flat-footed doll, is you have to do that to get their foot in there. Like, when they're pointed foot, like, you know, they're angled so that they can get down into anything. But these, when you have a flat-footed doll, you gotta do that. And then sunglasses, they're fine. Sunglasses are fine. But this is just cheap plastic. It doesn't open. It's just for looks. And it doesn't. And, like, it's a clutch. Like, you're gonna have to hold it. It looks like a skipper purse. It's so small. Like, the proportions don't even look right. So she has to hold it in her hand. It's fine. All right. So there's that trash. Should we try it on a doll first? Or should I open the second one? Maybe I'll model them both. All right. Here's the second one. Let's look at the clothing first again. So this does not have working pockets. They're just, like, stitched on. That doesn't bother me. A lot of people have a problem with that. That doesn't bother me. Stitching on it looks decent. You know, it's just decorative stitching. So it's okay that it's big stitches. Huge Velcro on the back. Like, look how thick that Velcro is. Good God. Like, you need a piece half that size. It does not need to be that big and chunky. And it's not like they're really thin, so it doesn't compress very much. It's, like, really thick and chunky. So that's gross. Also, what's going on with this seam? All right, let's turn them inside out and see how they're constructed. So that's garbage. Also, look, the seam doesn't even go all the way up to the top. It just stops there, and the threads are already loose. That's going to let go. That is not going to stay on there. And then, oh, that's what I was feeling. Good gravy. Look at that seam allowance. Good God. Like, and look at that ugly seam. What happened? What happened? Their tension was off. And so, yeah, their tension was off. Look at that. Wow. Garbage. I mean, this is hemmed over, but it's only hemmed over once. And look at how ragged that is cut. First, I thought those were notches to match things up, but no, it's just cut ragged. When I go back over this footage, I'll take more close-ups of this. See, that's a notch to match up the front and back. Maybe that's notched to get it to fold over. Maybe. Those might be notches. If so, they're jaggedy looking notches. But this seam allowance in the crotch, so you can feel that. It's like this huge clump of fabric and this huge clump of... God, that's awful. Look at that. How badly sewn that is. And so that's never going to lay right. And this is never going to look right. With this seam allowance... Oh my gosh. Let me get these back around. Do you see this? So there's a seam down the center back, right? And this is Velcro to here. And then there's a seam, a crotch seam from here to here. That is as long as this seam allowance is. Like, that is the biggest, thickest seam allowance. And so that just gives you this big wad of fabric in between the doll's legs. Again, these dolls, their thighs don't go out very well. So that's just going to bunch up and look like crap in between their legs. Like, you can see, that's why the legs don't stay open very nicely. It's just garbage. They're just not put together well. And there's threads hanging out everywhere. Garbage. I knew this top was going to disappoint me when I saw it on the website. Because it's just 3 cylinders of fabric. Why is there Velcro on the back of this? This is stretchy. This should just be able to go over her head. Why did they Velcro this? That is so dumb. So now you got this, like, this fabric is cute, right? And it's very thin. It's very thin. You can, like, see through it. But it's like a nice blouse fabric. And then they ruined it by putting this really heavy, big chunk of Velcro on the back that's so thick. So dumb. So there's some quality stitching. Very inconsistent. So if I stretch this out, let's take a look. So see how close the elastic is here to the edge of the fabric? See how far it is away here? So it's going to be like, so from the edge of the fabric, and this ruler is worn out, it's about 1/4 of an inch. That's about half the distance. It's about 1/8 of an inch. Now that doesn't sound like it's 1/8 of an inch. So what? But we're dealing with a 1/6 scale here. So an eighth of an inch is a big deal. So it's just cheaply made, right? It's cheaply made. It's garbage. Look at that. Look at that thread. That's nice. That's good finishing, right? You would never see this. Even like you would never have seen this on Barbie clothes or clone clothes. You would see it on. So that's all this is. And like these cuffs, like they're not even like, they're so big around. Like they're as big around as my thumb. I haven't even stretched that out. So that doll's bicep is not that big. That could have been drawn in much closer to make it look much neater. So these gathers are much looser and these gathers are much tighter. And so it just looks unbalanced. Looks unbalanced. The hem's all janky because it's waved. It just waves up and down. It's junk. It's just junk. These shoes are cute. Again, split up the back, which I hate, but the shoes are cute. They're a little fancier than what I would put with a pair of shorts. The necklace is fine. I hate these plastic necklaces though. Like, I don't know. Not that, I mean, it's so delicate and pretty. This is so chunky and plasticky. This bracelet, it's fine. It's, it's what you expect from the quality these days. Okay, I'm gonna turn this off. I did not expect this to be this hateful, and I'm sorry. I did not know what to expect. I like the way people sing the praises of these dolls. I assumed that I would love her, but y'all, I don't know. All right, so I think I'm gonna put her into one of the fashions, and I think Margot Robbie's gonna go in the other because she's the only one with high-heeled feet. So it's gonna be Margot Robbie versus Defa Lucy. I know that's maybe not fair because Margot is Margot, but whatever. That's what I've got. All right. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back. Okay. I apologize for the doll nudity, but this needed to be said. This body is so plasticky and cheap. Like, when you feel the materials, it's just so plasticky and cheap. Like, this doll is so... Look, these dolls cost about the same. I think I spent like $18 on her or something. And this doll is $25. Like, they're in the same price range. Like, I don't think this is an unfair... at first I was thinking, it's an unfair comparison because this is from the Barbie movie. No, I think it's a fair comparison. Like, like, they're in the same price range. And, like, the quality is just not there, my friends. It's just not. Like, she just feels so cheap and lightweight. And she just feels... Like, Margot Robbie feels so substantial. And she feels cheap compared to the 70s dolls. And 90s dolls, but compared to this girl, like, this girl feels like she's made of nothing. Like, just the cheapest, most lightweight stuff ever. Honestly, she looks like it looks like they stole this body sculpt is what it looks like. Like, they may have, I don't know, her molded on knickers are a little high, but other than that, she's pretty similar. All right. Anyway, I just wanted to address that really quickly, like, how cheap and top heavy this doll feels. Like, this doll feels very nicely balanced, and this one just does not. I don't know. I can't explain it. She's cute, but save your money, folks. Like, I don't know. Get one if you're curious. Like, I'm not sorry I got her, and I do think her face is beautiful, but I don't know. This body is not it. Okay, I was going to do this off camera, but I really want to kind of see how easily this pulls up on camera and what this does. I want to get my actual reaction. So we're going to do this together. I can't believe how cheaply made this dress is. Unbelievable. I mean, that's why it costs what it does. Pop that nastiness down in. But you're going to get bumps where that cheap ass materials. Oh yeah, it's around her knees. I mean, I guess she can walk a little. There's a hobble skirt, my friends. And you can see her panty line. Like, clearly see her panty line through her dress. Alright, I'll be right back. I just wanted to get that on camera. I wanted to see what my first reaction was. I'll be right back. I'll get her dressed. So what are my final thoughts? Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for putting up with, like, being able to see my laptop over here. And right, my studio is under reconstruction for those of you following me on social media. If you're not following me on Facebook, find me on Facebook. It's just my name, Sherry Archer. And you can watch all of my adventures in redoing my studio. Once that gets set up, then we can do more normal shoots again. But for now, we're kind of stuck with me, figuring out my dining table. That's actually what all this fabric in the background is from. It's from me redoing my studio. Okay, so thanks for putting up with, this odd location. So what are my final thoughts? So here's the girls in their fashions. It's just their feet dictated what shoes they wore, which chose the fashions that they were put in. So, and I think Margot's hairstyle goes with that outfit, so it's cute. And they're fine. You can see some of the issues, like as I was putting this coat on, little bits of this fluff were like coming off, and it's just falling apart. You can see the weird bunching in her crotch because of that odd seam. There's issues, right? Like it is what it is. So first of all, do I think the Defa Lucy doll is worth it? And the answer is no, I do not.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Will I be buying another one in the future? No, I will not. And let me tell you why. That doll, she's adorable. She's very cute. She's beautiful on camera. And this is why people have been buying her up and YouTubers have been buying her up. But she is made of very cheap materials. I had a very hard time standing her up and not making her look awkward and uncomfortable because her feet and legs just are doing weird things. There's no workmanship going into it. And again, right, like I don't know if this is a business that I can trust, right? Like why should I purchase from them? I just don't know, right, anything about that company. So it just doesn't make me feel comfortable putting my money there. So this is probably the only Defa Lucy I will ever have in my collection. And I'm okay having one example in my collection just to have that as kind of a record, of this time, when these dolls are so popular. But pay attention. They're going to start showing up on eBay and thrift stores. Like people are buying them at incredible rates. And not all of them are going to make the cut. So if you want one, look to the secondhand market and buy from there. Don't buy from Temu or anything else if you absolutely have to. So that's first of all. Second of all, these fashions. Fashions. Would I buy these again? Absolutely not. They're garbage. They're made of cheap materials. They're not made to be played with or, anything like that. They're not meant to stand up. There's threads popping out everywhere. The seams aren't finished well. They're not, there's no care put in their construction. They're just garbage. Do they look cute on camera? Sure, they look fine on camera. But in person, they're not good. They're just not good. So what do I do, right? Like, what do I do then? And I'll tell you what you do. If you want to buy a new quality doll for my money, I would rather buy a Looks doll. And so that's the doll all the way over on the left. And I'll put up some images here of what these dolls cost, right? Like you can go buy all three of these dolls right now. And I'll put up, I don't think this is an incorrect comparison to make. And the Looks dolls have that desirable made to move body. So they're very poseable. If you don't like the made to move body, you can buy the fashionista dolls, and those are even cheaper. You know what I mean? Even less expensive. Like she's supposed to be compatible or, like similar to the extra dolls. She came with no accessories, nothing. She didn't come with a hair comb. She didn't come with anything. She just came dressed as is, and that was the end of it. Like even a fashionista doll will come with a hair comb. You know what I mean? Like she didn't come with anything. So spend your money, like get a Looks doll. They're really high quality. They're beautifully made. They have a gorgeous face sculpt. Look at this girl. I mean, I know I got her sunglasses on her. Let me pull these off. I mean, look at that face. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Beautiful face paint. Really well done. Sure, I know sometimes it's a crapshoot with Mattel dolls, whether it's going to be a good face mold or not. Watch the YouTube videos, watch the reviews, right? And then you know which ones to buy and which ones to avoid. The Barbie the Movie dolls, those are really high quality. A lot of them are back in stock and you can get them at reasonable prices, and they come with really cute accessories and stuff. You want really nice accessories and clothes? Where do you get those, right? The Mattel stuff is garbage. So this is the Mini Fashions brand that you get in those little capsules for like 10 bucks. So cheap. And like, look at that. They fold. These sunglasses fold. Like, the downside is you're left with kind of a crapshoot if you don't know what you're going to get. But you know what? People buy so many of these. Again, look on the secondhand market. Look on eBay, right? For people getting rid of their extras, their seconds, their thirds. You can find this stuff and you don't have to go buy it brand new from Target or whatever. So, right, if there's something specific you want from the, from the mini brands, go look for it online, right? They're so plentiful and people are buying so many of them for like YouTube videos and TikTok videos and stuff. Like, there's extras out there, man. So, right? And for my money, like, I'd buy a look style and then you want a dress for her, go on Etsy, buy a dress from an independent crafter, right? Buy that dress from that independent artist, somebody who's making a living doing this, right? Not some company that's probably exploiting people or potentially exploiting people, right? But buy from somebody, that's in your country, that's making stuff for a living. You can get beautiful designs out there, right? And beautiful clothes, identical to some of this stuff, but really high quality and really well made. Are you going to pay more? Sure. But you know what? You pay for what you get, right? You're not going to get this garbage. You're going to get something beautifully made and you're going to help sustain somebody in their career, right? And then everybody wins. So that's the way you go. You buy one really high quality dress from an Etsy seller rather than 5 from Temu. You'll feel better about it. They'll feel better about it. Everybody wins. All right. So that's just my opinion, right? Feel free to agree or disagree with me as you wish. Tell me what you think down in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Am I being too harsh by saying this doll is garbage? Because I really, really believe she's made of garbage. Tell me down in the comments below what you think and what your opinions are. And special shout out to Ken for letting us use his box as a stand today. Do you want to see that unboxing? Should I unbox these Wedding Day Barbie and Ken dolls? I've been on the fence about it. So tell me what you think. Do you want to see a video of me unboxing them? Maybe that's next. Either way, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.